Hello, welcome back to JoJo's Baker House. I'm Ginny. Now I made this Tatty Teddy cake the other day and I have had a lot of questions about this one and how did I get the snow effect. Now I know that each year trying to find snow and make snow can be a right nightmare. So I have come up with my way of making some snow and I'm going to share that with you today. So let's begin. I have covered over just a polystyrene dummy cake there, just so that I can show you, and I've done the board as well. So I'm just going to pop that on the top. Now obviously I'm not using this, so I don't have to be overly delicate, this is just to show you. So I'm going to push this to one side because I don't need this for the moment. And these are my snows that I've made. So I've got a very, very light, fine snow here. And then I've also got a harder, coarser, you can hear this hitting the sides. So that's coarser and it looks like it's got like snowballs and whatever, if you use your imagination, in that one. So let's start making it. Get myself a little bowl and some water. Now I use royal icing for this, and if you make your own royal icing from scratch then you're a much better person than I am. But I don't, so I'm going to be using some packet royal icing and adding water. So again, I know you're probably making your own, but this is so easy for me to buy and I barely use royal icing, so making it just is something I don't want to do. Right. There we go. Now just be warned, this whole process is just such a snowy mess. I have a tea towel, which I'll try and keep using. Right then, so now I've got my water. I'm just gonna pop in some water there, just to make it the consistency that I want. And first of all, before I make the snow, because I make it in a very similar way to this, before I make the snow, I'm actually going to make the texturized snow, and that is just royal icing. So I want it to be wet enough that I can lift it, but sticky enough that it's going to hold a little bit of form. So unfortunately I don't know how much I'm using because I do it by eye, but a small amount of water and then keep going. See that? That's kind of where I want it to be. Okay. Oh, flicking it everywhere. Right, so now I'm going to bring this forward and take my palette knife. Let's take this out for a second. And then I'm just going to start making the effect across the cake. So I'm going to put the royal icing where I want lumps of snow to be. Now around the outside is really good to make it look like the snow is dropping off. And this is what it's going to stick to. And I did try to do this effect with just solely icing sugar, but unfortunately it just dissolved. So I have tried this one and I've left it overnight and it does hold. Obviously there's a slight dissolve on it, but it's still there and it's been sat there now for 2 days and it's done really, really well. So it's not going to completely dissolve on you and you're going to keep that effect. So again, you want some texture like snow. Just, there we go. Bit of lumping up, it's dribbling down the side, a little bit like a drip cake. Now you can go on into the middle, but normally you'd have something in the middle, like a topper or something like that. And then around the bottom, let's use a smaller palette knife here. And you want to cut in around here. Don't worry about it being neat, because it really doesn't need to be. Just so that you're going to get that effect of where the snow is clinging on there. So I'm going to do that all the way around. There we go. Lovely. Right, so we've met all the way around there. And then again, I'm just going to around the bottom because obviously that's where snow would probably stick to. And lifting up, as you can see my board's lifting up here. I normally use piping gel to stick the fondant onto the board, but just because this is just for a tutorial purpose, I'm not going to be using this. I'm not worried that it's lifting. Okay, just a little bit more across the top there. And then you can also take parts around the outside as well. And again, but don't do it thick around the sides because it just doesn't look as nice. So kind of put it on like butter and then just tack it back out in different places around the side. And you can already see from a distance that this is already looking texturized. You can see it building. Ooh. I want to get some more around the outside here to cling to. And it's starting to dry there. So putting in some more texture when it's starting to dry is going to help that lift a bit more as well. Right, so now we're going to make snow. Now I'm not going to use the snow that I'm going to make because I left mine overnight and it just goes that little bit harder, and that's what you need. So let's put this to one side and show you how to make the snow, and then we will put it onto the cake, and hopefully then you'll see the effect that we're looking for. Why did I get rid of that? I need that. Right, back to my royal icing. Now obviously it's all depending on how much you want to make. I think that between these two it was half a packet, so, and I've got a lot there. So my water. Always add the smaller amount first to see where you're going. Sorry about that. I paused it. My dog was going mad. Someone came to the door. Right, let's carry on with this. So, right. Now I don't want it to be, oh, it went stiff because I left it. Right then. I don't want it to be too wet. So this is fairly, oh, look, this is fairly stiff, okay? So, here we go. So that's around about where I want it to be. Then we're going to add icing sugar to it, and I forgot to get icing sugar, so give me 1 sec. Right, I have my icing sugar. Now we're going to add, there we go. I'm not worried about sifting it or anything like that. Now, I did try and do this in a mixer. Didn't really want to play the game with me, so a bit of elbow grease is the best, because kept getting all of this sticky stuff just kept getting stuck underneath the blade. So yeah, actually I ended up having to do it by hand anyway. So right, keep going. Now this is a fairly long process, but it is worth it. So now it start getting quite dry, so I'm just kind of cutting into it here. Right, last lot. Again, I'm doing all of this by eye. Okay, hands, just like breadcrumbs now. and just run this through your fingers, trying to make it like breadcrumbs. So if you're struggling, you need more icing sugar. So mine is still there. I'm getting there. It's still a little bit wet. Now I know you're probably wondering, well, why, if it's predominantly icing sugar in here, why am I adding the royal icing? Now the royal icing clings to each of those pieces of icing sugar in there, and that's what stops this dissolving. When it's left overnight, it goes a little bit crunchy, a little bit hard. That's what you want. So that is going to give you your snow. So here we go. So this is bearing resemblance now to this one. So this would be your coarser snow. Now you can leave it like that, but I would I like the two because I can do the coarser underneath and then the fine fresh snow just for the pretty effect across the top. So there we are. That is your coarser snow. Obviously, the more, if you want to add a little bit more icing sugar, but don't add too much. You still need it to be gripping. Now, I know you're going to ask, how long does this last for? It's going to last for as long as your icing sugar and your royal icing would normally. It's all sugar. So what you're normally doing with your royal icing, however long you leave out your royal icing, depending on how you make it, is how you're going to store this and look after it. Right, I'm happy with that. Now we're going to make this the finer one. So I've got a bowl and I've got a sieve. And then we are just going to work it through the sieve. And it does go through, you can see it coming through, and here is where your fine snow is going to come from. So you just keep going, and I promise you it does all go through. So don't just knock at it, because you do need to press this through, because just banging the sides, you'll get some initially, but you're just going to end up with all these lumps, and these lumps need to be pushed all the way through there. Right, here we go. There you go. It looks so nice, and then when you pick it up, it's just so fine. It feels like snow. It's lovely. Right, that's it. It's through. There you go. So that's done. Now we have got this perfect, soft, delicate snow, which there is extremely soft because the air hasn't hit that royal icing yet and crunched it, but this one has that slight gritty crunch to it, and that's what you want to hold onto the top. So let's decorate. Now, where did I put my tea towel? Fine, one sec. Okay, so we're going to decorate. Right, I'm going to take some of the coarser across the top. So you want to still do this when that icing sugar is wet, otherwise you're not going to get it to stick. You can break up the pieces as you're going, or you can leave those large lumps. The effect is absolutely lovely. Whoops. Now I've slightly started to dry there because I stopped to make the other one. So I'm just going to push it in to stick a little bit more. There we go. Rake it up a little bit around the edges. And then down that drip, let's just push in that snow. That's lovely there, see? Really nice. Something about this makes you feel ever so festive. There we are. If you have a tray or something underneath you, the bits that are falling down, you can then just scoop back up again and keep. But a lot of this is hitting the bottom of my board, and that's where I want it to be anyway. Okay, and then we've got some across the sides, which I think we may need to use the finer one for, but I'll just stick some on there. Lovely. And here. Right then, at the bottom of the board, just use what's there, just push it round and it's going to cling. Right then, so that is the harsher snow that we've got. Take that out. This is so messy. And then we're going to take the finer one. And this is just going to top across there and really show that effect of freshly fallen snow across there. Make sure that you get in around the sides. There we go. Now, obviously mine dried here and I haven't got any royal icing left, but there we go. That kind of sticks on there a little bit. There we are. You can see how this falls here, and then you've got the lumps around. Now you can add as many as you like. You can put more on throughout the sides, but I like the effect of it falling. You could do more coming down. This is just showing you the different ways in which I created the effect on this one here. So I am full of snow. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it was useful, and I hope that your Christmas cakes work out extremely well. So thank you so much, and I will see you soon.